So dementia is not just getting old or forgetting people's names or where one's put something. It is a physical condition that actually is caused by changes in one's brain. In this slide you can see the difference between a normal brain and a brain of someone with Alzheimer's. The brain has shrunk. It's because neurons die. In Alzheimer's one produces too much amyloid, and this is like great blobs of chewing gum which block up some of the pathways, and if the neurons on the other side of the blockage aren't used, they shrivel and die. And I believe there's so much that can be done to keep these alive, to prevent the progression of the disease. There are many conditions that cause dementia, but once you've got dementia, it's really quite irrelevant as to why one's got it. Certain medical conditions can make it more likely to get it. You can see from this slide that different parts of the body are controlled by different parts of the brain. Dementia usually affects the temporal lobes. For myself, that is where a lot of it is doing its job. But also, nearby are the parts of the brain that affect sight, or hearing, or smell, and that is why it can affect these parts of one's life as well. People with Parkinsonism can also get dementia. Now, Parkinsonism is about movement usually, and that is usually affected by the cerebellum. But the cerebellum is very near the temporal lobe, so it is quite possible that the disease just progresses slowly into that part of the brain as well. It depends which part of the brain is affected as to how one's life progresses, but whatever the cause, there's always something that can be done to help. So how does one know whether one's got dementia? It's not just getting old, as we said. For quite a lot of people, it first shows itself by getting lost when driving. I know a lot of folk that was picked up like that. That happened with me. I just got completely lost. Not coping in situations that one would normally cope with very easily. Using items inappropriately. On this slide, someone's using a jam jar instead of a glass, perhaps not realising that they're doing that. Misunderstanding simple instructions. Struggling to cope with something that before something loved doing. The doctors are able to diagnose dementia very accurately now. There are a lot of tests that can be done. One doesn't need to be frightened of finding out. In fact, it's a good thing, because if one has a diagnosis, one has access to medication. And medication for me has made a tremendous difference. I am so much better than I was before I started taking medication. It doesn't work for everybody, but for those that it does work for, it's certainly worth taking.